Hello, and once again, guys, you are welcome. And today's video is a little bit unusual. Okay, Chidera from Nigeria, African rabbit farmers, interview eight rabbit farm. It's a one-on-one session, and therefore this content really is a compilation of interesting questions. You know, questions and answers that many viewers would wanted to ask. But here is an opportunity where it has all been asked, and we have attempted to answer the questions as much as possible to our best of ability based on what we have experienced on the farm. Okay, so it is a very, very interesting session. It is almost a one-stop shop where you get enriched data to support your own farm, and especially for beginners and also for people who just want to get more insight into rabbit farming. Guys, we will be answering questions on key activities, feeding, care, the market. We'll be answering questions around the purpose of the farm, breeding, which best rabbit, and so forth and so on. And then the last part, which is actually very interesting for me, is that we'll be talking about challenges and advice to up and coming farmers. Guys, for me, I find it very, very interesting. I find it engaging. I'm actually surprised this young man has been able to get me talking. Yeah. So if this sort of thing really interests you guys, go ahead and subscribe and join this family so that we can keep bringing you good content. Encourage the team to be producing good content, which is educational and timeless. Okay. You can always come back to this material for refresh and so forth and so on. All right, guys, without much ado, let's just jump straight into it. Okay. Cheers.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Depending on where you're watching this video and the time you're watching it, you're welcome back once again to our channel. Here with us, we have a guest. He's the CEO of Ace Rabbit Farms in Ghana. He's the CEO of Ace Rabbit Farms in Ghana. He's very knowledgeable about rabbit farming. So we decided to do a live video today, and I want to be asking him some few questions so that a lot of us can actually learn from his knowledge. So, sir, how are you doing today? I want you to introduce yourself to us. Tell us the name of your farm and where it's located in Ghana, so that for those of us that are in Ghana, we can actually locate the farm. Let us know.
Thanks, Chidera, for being so kind with your introduction. Um,
Okay.
the farm is called Ace Rabbit Farms, right? And it's
Okay.
located in Accra, Achimota, in Ghana.
Okay.
It's available on Google Map. You just type in Ace Rabbit Farm and you'll find it in Google Map. So we are there in Accra, Achimota.
Okay. So, how long have you guys been in existence? How long?
So we started. So we still believe we are in an experimental stage. Okay.
Okay.
Because so we started about December of 2019,
Okay.
December, right? So 2020 will be our official 1 year of starting. So we are just about 3 years old. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, sir, I'll be asking you some few questions based on rabbit farming as a whole, because there are a lot of
Okay.
upcoming farmers, there are a lot of new farmers that wants to learn a lot of things about farming, rabbit farming to be precise, because that's basically what my channel is all about. So I want you to teach us today. Today you're our teacher. I want you to teach us some few things. When it comes to your rabbit feeding, how often do you feed your rabbits in a day? How often?
That is a very, very good question. It depends on the methods you are using.
Okay.
It depends on the type of feed that you are giving your animals, right?
Okay.
So and also it depends on the type of animal, because we've got dry those that are not breeding, we've
Mhm.
got those that are breeding, and
Okay.
then we've got animals that you are rearing just to go to the butcher, right? So there are types of animals, and it depends on the animal that will determine the type of feeding that you give them. So, for
Okay.
example, if a doe is not a production doe and is
Mm.
just sitting down there waiting, you
Okay.
make sure you feed it at least, well, according to the books and where we got our information, So, by the way, we always use research data to support
Okay.
what we do on the farm. Okay. So, we
Okay.
go out there, we experiment with research information,
Mm.
we take that information, we come to practice it, and if it works for us, then we keep it. So, everything that we do is based on research. We are not just farming blindly, we
Okay.
are almost doing it scientifically. So,
Okay.
coming back to your question, to feed our animals, we just make sure, depends on how you want to feed them. So we
Mm.
give them at least 50 grams of pelleted feed. So the pelleted feed is the high concentration energy feed, high
Mm.
concentration protein feed. It's got all the minerals and everything in there. So that one, you make sure you just give that one 50 grams per day. What else we feed that makes the difference, guys? This is the secret to the trade,
Okay.
really, is to put in there a lot of hay, okay? Unlimited hay. So I'm
Okay.
using the word very carefully. Hay, it must be bone dry, dry grass. Okay,
Mm.
that one you can just fetch as much as you want and dump it in there so that the animal has something to do every single time. The
Mm.
animal doesn't sit idle. If it wants to do anything, it can find a piece of hay and just start chewing that one. It's more healthy for it. It keeps the bowels moving. It
Mm.
stops the bloating that we all know is a major issue on the rabbit farm. So
Okay.
50 grams of high concentrated pelleted feed,
Mm-hmm.
generally, of course, for your animals, and then unlimited hay.
Okay.
The secret is what they call it ad libitum. It's a serious word. Ad
Okay.
libitum means unlimited.
Okay.
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 So then
When you talk.
for pregnant does, we just increase the amounts.
Okay. So
Yeah.
since you are feeding like 50% of pellet for pregnant those, how many percent do you feed? Like 100?
Yes, you can double it. So also it depends. Yeah, you can double it. And
Okay.
also be careful. Sometimes if the animal is not actually pregnant and you double the feed, they then gain weight. Then it becomes very difficult to get them pregnant because sometimes we do get forced pregnancy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
yeah,
when you're talking about the hay, what kind of hay do you feed your rabbit? What kind of hay?
that is a blessing for Africa. Actually, majority of all the grasses that's the bracharia, they all came from Africa. The turf grass, they all came from Africa. Chloris, Guyana, most of those grasses came from Africa. However, the various agricultural bodies have now perfected it and they've derived different varieties of it and made it more nutritious for the animals. So
Yeah.
here on the African continent, bracharia is there.
Mm.
That bracharia topic is very popular right now.
Yeah.
Um, Turf grass is another very beautiful grass to give your animals.
Okay.
Chloris Guyana,
Mm.
okay, I think they call it rose grass,
Yeah.
is another beautiful one to give your animals. So, like I said, just go into your grass, the dry one.
Mm.
Again, we're going to come to the dry part because I just want, guys, that is what we have experienced. If it is
Okay.
dry, we don't have any problem. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So for those of you guys that are just seeing Mr. Alex for the first time, he has a YouTube channel too, so you can go check out his YouTube channel. The name of your YouTube channel is Rabbit Farms, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
we've created a small little channel for the farm, and it's called Ace Rabbit Farm. And
Okay.
we try to post some of our knowledge, our experiences, especially everything that we do on the farm. We try to
Okay.
post them there to help the upcoming farmers as well.
Okay. So is there any specific vegetable that should be fed to the rabbit?
So under normal circumstances, so remember we are deciding to do rabbit because rabbit does not compete with human beings.
Okay.
So you can, and on a commercial scale, you can raise your animal without competing with human beings. So for me, vegetables, like people talk about carrots and all those things,
Mm.
we don't give any of that. Okay. But if you
Okay.
want to give carrots or any of these other vegetables, just take the top part of the carrot is better than giving
Mm.
the carrot itself because carrot itself is high in sugar, is high in carbohydrates, which can actually cause problem. So yes, if you want to do that, by all means, just make sure it is clean. Okay, it is. These animals are very sensitive, so make sure whatever you feed them is clean. Having said all of that, feed also very small quantities. Okay.
Mm.
But I'll go as far as giving them, bitter leaf is still a vegetable, right?
Yeah, sure.
Give dry bitter leaf. I love bitter leaf. I've got so many trees on my yard. Dry
Yeah.
bitter leaf and give it to them. Rosemary, just take a pinch of it. You can give it to them as well. Sweet basil, those type of almost herbs or vegetables, I will give them. I mean, dandelion that we all use for tea, you can give
Mm.
them.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so how many times do you guys feed your rabbit in a day?
We prefer to feed them twice. So again, it depends on your own practices. It depends on
Mm.
the time that you have at your hand.
Okay.
And because we always want to make sure there is something going on with the rabbit all the time, we are
Okay.
choosing the two time feeding. So you feed in the morning a small gram, like 50 gram, like I said. You feed in the evening another 50 gram. But
Okay.
you leave hay in there. Okay, you leave hay in there. Now,
Always.
always there must be
Okay.
hay in there.
Okay. So how much fresh water should a rabbit consume daily? And
It,
how
honestly, it
often should
depends
you
on the
change?
size of the animal. Sorry?
Okay. How much fresh water should a rabbit consume each day, and how often should you be changing their water?
That is a very good question, especially now that we are feeding only dry matter.
Yeah.
So you need to have a lot of water. Water must also be unlimited. Okay.
Okay.
In our case, we use automated water system. So there's
Yeah, the
always
liquid
water in the
water
bigger
system.
tank. Yeah.
Mm.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So we always have water in the bigger tank that is
Mm.
always available for the animal. But if you are using the pot system, which is what we started with, using a little pot with water,
Yeah.
just make sure every day at least you change it once a day. Okay. When I say
Okay.
change it once a day, take it out completely, wash the container, make sure it is nicely dry before you fill it up with another set of water. Okay. But it must always be fresh water because you are feeding them dry matter.
Okay.
And also, these animals are in a cage, so they don't get a chance to go anywhere else. So
Yeah.
that means you have to be responsible for everything that you do to these animals. Yeah.
Mm. So, should the rabbit be fed fruits? If so, what kind of fruit should they be fed? What kind of fruit should rabbit eat? Because here in Africa, I don't really know if we feed our rabbits mostly fruits, but the Europeans, like the people who keep rabbit as pets, they mostly feed their rabbits fruits. So I want you to tell us: are rabbits supposed to be fed fruits? If they are supposed to be fed fruit, what kind of fruit should they be fed?
So that again is another good question.
Okay.
I will not recommend it because if you
Okay.
are feeding high pelleted feed with a lot of nutrients, then the rabbit
Yeah.
doesn't need a fruit for any other nutrient. But we
Okay.
know it's written all over books. You can feed them some apple. Again, remember always small quantity. Okay, so if I will give my rabbit an apple, I'll probably
Mm.
give this size of an apple to the rabbit. Okay, just to give it a taste. Because remember, we also give them apple cider vinegar. So can you see the line?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will stop at apple. Let me think of any other fruits. Honestly speaking, I will just stop at apple. Yeah, you can. Some of the fruits are not there. Blueberries, we don't have them in Ghana. So
Mm.
look, I will stick to apple, melon. But again, guys, small quantity. Don't
Okay.
do too much. Don't go to the market and go and pick up all those melons that have already been used and come and give it to your animal. No,
Yeah.
your animal does not like sugar. Rabbit does not like sugar. Some of
Mm.
these fruit contain sugar.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So by feeding them sugary stuff, you might end up, causing injury or bloat, which is going to end up causing death. So banana, you can give them banana also. A small
Okay.
portion. Again, you take one long banana, for example, you can give to 10 rabbits. So basically, you cut it into small slices.
Okay.
You give them fruit as a treat,
Okay.
not as their main diet. Okay.
Okay. You
Pawpaw,
know.
pawpaw is
Okay.
very common. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
give
Sure.
them pawpaw, but I will even take just the one that is just about to ripe.
Okay.
Yeah. And you just, slice it and give them a small portion like this is
Okay.
sufficient. Yeah.
Okay. when you were talking about the fruit, I remembered something. Um, a lot of people use this watermelon. You know watermelon, the back,
Yes,
like
yes.
they meet all these people who cut them in the roadside. They meet them, then they get the watermelon back. Are they good for rabbits? Like they use it sometimes as their normal main feed for a day. So are they good? Will you advise them?
So yes, the rabbit will eat it, but
Okay,
like I said, small portion, right? So it is
okay,
not the main food. Okay, the any fruit
okay,
that you give your rabbit is not the main food. Is you are giving the fruit to the rabbit as a treat. So it must just be a small portion. So if you go to town to go and collect the watermelons from the side of the road, please make sure it is well washed, it's well clean. And then if you're going to give them at all, just cut a small portion of it and give it to your rabbits. But don't use that as your main feed. If you use that as your main feed, maybe you'll be lucky and they'll survive. But honestly speaking, we are doing a commercial. And for commercial, we will not recommend you to use any uh, of such feed. Okay.
for those of you guys that have not seen the previous live video, we did a previous live video on feeding. So the network threw me out. I was having a little network challenge, but now we are back. So in this particular live session, we want to be talking about production. Yes, rabbit production. That's what we want to be talking about in this video. So, sir, I want you to tell us what are the different breeds of rabbits commonly used for commercial rabbit production? What are the best breed for commercial rabbit production? I want you to tell us. Since you are like you are our organ on top. So tell us.
So I thank you for that. I've always
Okay.
held this single view. Okay. In this context where we are
Okay.
farming for meat,
Okay.
we are farming for meat, right? So
Yeah.
regardless, all rabbit will eventually become meat. Okay.
Mm.
But to take it a further step, you are doing this thing commercially. And if you are doing this thing commercially, it means you are running it like a business. And
Okay.
therefore your input materials must be efficient. Okay.
Yeah.
And we know around the world they have raised this rabbit in hundreds, 200 of years. They have perfected the breeds. So for
Mm.
me, the New Zealand stands on top. Okay,
Okay.
the New Zealand, they come in 4 or 5 different colors. Okay, white, red, blue, and broken. Also, they've got different colors, but New
Black.
Zealand is always number one because it gives you the various efficiencies in feed conversion,
Mm.
and the proportion of the meat is also better. So New Zealand, we've got Californian, which is another great breed.
Mm.
So if I don't mention your breed, don't feel
Yeah,
bad,
yeah, yeah,
okay?
sure, sure.
Yeah. So New Zealand, Californian, you've got a Champagne d'Argent from France also, another very good one. You've got the Palomino, another great one. You've got Bevering, another beautiful set of animals. And of course, people like big stuff, right? So you can talk
Yeah.
about the chinchillas. The American chinchilla is a very good meat rabbit. But the last one, which I'm really not a fan of, is the Flemish giant. I don't know why. They just eat too much and they take too long to mature. So because of that, I'm not really a fan of that. Okay. But when it comes to those meat rabbits, oh, by the way, there is also something called a Hyla. I have not played with it yet.
Yeah, we
The
have that
Hyla
in
Max.
Nigeria here. That's
Yeah.
very common
It's
in
very
Nigeria.
common in Benin and Nigeria.
Yeah.
Maybe Ivory Coast, but I don't have it. We have not used it in Ghana. I don't know much about it, but there is a whole variety of them. I've got a whole book, a big fat book here that talks about all the breeds of rabbits, okay, in the world that has been
Wow.
approved. And so I use
Oh,
this
that's
to guide me. It's quite a
okay.
very interesting book where you can read every single thing about it. And then you can select according to your commercial requirement. Okay.
Mm. Okay. Talking about the breeds, I watched one of the videos you did with Modin. Modin visited your farm, his farms in Ghana. He was talking about the pure breeds. You guys have the pure breeds of New Zealand in your farm. Okay, you have the pure breeds available. So Do you guys sell the pure breeds to people? Have you guys started
Oh
selling?
yes, yes. That was the original intent.
Okay.
So we came to SA and we secure 12 pure breeds. That is all what we can afford. So we bought 12 pure breeds
They are
of
really
New
expensive,
Zealand.
right?
Yeah, yeah. The animal itself is not very expensive, but
Yeah.
it is the process of taking the animal from here, from
To Ghana.
SA all the way to Ghana, the various agricultural permits, the various veterinary certificates,
Yeah.
local, international, the special carrier bags that you need to keep them in.
Okay.
Then, of course, the cargo fee or the plane fare,
Mm.
because you cannot put them on a ship, right? You want this thing
Yeah.
to be in and out within 4 or 5 hours. You have them. So those processes is what makes it really expensive.
Okay.
And since you are speaking about that now, so now that we've got a certain certified quality breed, the intent is now to protect that breed, to preserve it and to conserve it so that
Mm.
we can now produce from our own local breed. Okay. So yeah, so the intent is not always to bring them from outside into Ghana, but the
Okay.
intent is once you bring them into Ghana, how do you then sustain it?
Okay.
That means we no longer have to just be crossing our animal just by heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you cross your animal, you cross it because there is a plan behind the crossing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, how do you manage your pregnant rabbits?
So obviously, all rabbits we keep them in single cages. Okay.
Okay.
So when the animal is pregnant, we just make sure that we give them the right quantity of feed. We give them because they need all this calcium to, because they're carrying babies. So you need
Yeah.
calcium, you need protein to build all of that up. We don't
Mm.
take any chances with them by feeding them anything funny. We just give them the standard food so that we don't lose any due to abortion. So we just double their feed, number one. Number two, we give them minerals, we give them sufficient water, and we don't disturb them too much because rabbit really likes peace of mind. And so when you do that, it's a normal, and you keep monitoring them. You keep monitoring them just to be
Okay.
sure that there's nothing wrong there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, what's the age of a male? Like, what age does a male rabbit need to attain before you say, okay, this one is fully mature to start breeding? What age?
So, okay. So we can talk very confidently about that because the animals we
Mm.
brought from here to Ghana
Okay.
were all
Where are
about.
you? Explain to us. You have been saying from here to Ghana. Explain to us. Where are
So
you?
right now, I'm sitting somewhere here in Johannesburg in South Africa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, occasionally yeah, I'm sitting somewhere here in Johannesburg in South Africa. And occasionally, of course, I visit Ghana just to
Yeah.
see
Yeah. Yeah.
the people and
Okay.
train them and so forth. Yeah. So a male animal, we prefer us again. It depends on the size, right?
Yeah.
So we prefer them to be between 7, maximum 8 months old is a decent age for a buck. Okay. Even our does, we prefer them to be around 7 to 8 months before we temper
Oh,
with them.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, you see, when you treat them right, anything below 6 months is almost teenage pregnancy, and we are not interested in that. So we
Mm.
want them to be matured, fully developed, so that when they are giving you babies, they'll give you a lot of bunnies, and then it can be sustained for a long period of time. You need to manage your production dose very, very carefully, so that because it is an asset, right?
Yeah.
It is your asset on the farm. So you need to manage your assets the same way that you manage any other asset so that they can live longer and give you a lot of bunnies in the process.
Okay. 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 You were talking about is there any disadvantages that comes with breeding your dog really early?
Sorry, say
Like,
that again.
is there any disadvantages that comes with breeding a doe early? Because a lot of people say 4 months, 5 months, you can breed your doe. Is there any disadvantage like that
Yeah.
comes with breeding your doe early? So explain to us what are those disadvantages?
So
Why
so
do we
it, there,
not
there
breed
there
our
should be
doe early?
definitely yeah, there are a couple of disadvantages. So I'm not sure. I can't hear you very well. Let me see if I can. Do I need to increase volume? Okay.
Okay.
Um, there are some disadvantages for sure. If an animal is not well developed, an animal 4 months is not well developed. And I use the term teenage pregnancy, okay, very, very cautiously, because
Yeah.
definitely if the animal is not well developed and it goes into production, you might end up losing the animal itself, or you might end up losing all the bunnies and so forth. So there is disadvantage there. But if you allow the animal to grow 7 months, 8 months, fully matured doe,
Yeah.
then by all means, you know this, you're not going to have any complication of pregnancies. And so, of course, occasionally complications do occur, but once they are 7, 8 months, you are sure of a mature doe and you can rely on it. Now, a 4 month animal might also not give you 2 years of production. It might just
Yeah.
give you 1 year and a half. So you want your animal, which is good mother, good producing animal, to stay longer on your farm.
Okay, so now let's talk about the selling aspect. Normally, when we finish feeding our rabbit and producing, we need to sell. Yes, this has been one of the major issues when it comes to rabbit farming, and we talked about it the previous time. So, what is the typical market for your rabbits? Like, what is the typical market channel? Do you sell your rabbits for fur? Do you sell them for meat, or do you sell them for fellow breeders? What did you like? How do you sell them?
It's a good question. So that
Okay.
depends on how we are operating our business. Our business, because we bring in foreign breeds, our business is to produce the foreign breeds in Ghana and sell to other farmers. So that will be our first customers. So
Okay.
we've been giving out our foreign breeds to all other rabbit farmers in Ghana, number one. Then, of course, there is also meat consumption, which is the
Mm.
number one reason why we enter into rabbit farming anyway. So what we
Yeah.
do is that we create what is called, we have the local breeds that we create what is called hybrid with the foreign
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
And the hybrid is also still very good for production. But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we produce specific hybrids that is dedicated to meat. So we have meat as well. And the meat just we sell to the local community and also to the nearest restaurants. If we are lucky and a restaurant comes and place an order, we do that. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So, what is the typical weight of one rabbit you sell for meat?
So again, because of the commercial breed that we are using, we are looking at between
Mm.
our animals are usually between 2.5 to 2.7 kilograms. And this
Okay.
is for 3 months to 3.5, maximum 4 months, we sell them for meat. By 4 months, they are about 2.7 kilograms.
Okay. 4 months, 2.7 kilograms. Wow. 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 So, how much? How much do you sell one meat rabbit? Or like, tell us the price you sell the meat rabbit, and also the prices you sell the rabbits for breeding stock, so that we can know.
So obviously for breeding stock, I don't know if this is the right environment, but this is what happens is we are very transparent with our information, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It costs. Okay, so at the time of this video, that the last time we sent animals to Ghana, it cost us about 6,000 Ghana cedis per single animal.
Okay.
So obviously, not many rabbit farmers will afford 6,000 Ghana cedis for one
Yeah.
animal. And if the animal dies, then you basically wash away 6,000, right? So what we've
Yeah.
done is we've reproduced those animals into um, our own production, and obviously we sell them for just about 1,000 for one. Okay.
Okay.
Um, yeah, 1,000 for one. And also when it comes to hybrid, because we cross them with the local, we sell them for about 300. Yeah. And for
Okay.
meat, obviously it's around 150. Yeah.
So, can you drop maybe a number so that maybe anyone that wants rabbit from your farm can actually call you or call your farm manager to actually supply them breeds? Because I know a lot of people that might watch this video might want to buy some breeds of rabbits from you. So for those of you guys that don't know, Mr. Alex is the CEO of Ace Rabbit Farms in Ghana. Yes, he is the CEO. He's the CEO. So I knew him from one video. Um, Modine did. I don't know those of you guys that know Modine. He's also a YouTuber too who does videos on rabbit farming. So that was where I knew him for the first time. Then we also speak on Clubhouse. Then we shared our contacts. Then we started chatting on WhatsApp and we decided to do this video, that is this live video. So if you want to talk to him, if you want to buy rabbits from his farm, he's going to be dropping his number on this video. So sir, as you are preparing with that, I don't know if you can tell us the few challenges you face as a rabbit farmer. What are those challenges you face as a rabbit farmer? Because as a rabbit farmer, definitely you'll be facing few challenges. What are the challenges you face? And you would want other rabbit farmers to be aware of this so that in case they get something like this in their farm, it won't be new to them. Tell us.
Yeah. So for me, it's about being consistent and being disciplined.
Okay.
If you are not, because rabbits are very, very routine-like animals. So if you are not consistent
Mm,
and disciplined with your timing, your animals will go into some kind of a chaos. They will not be very healthy. Okay.
yeah.
But the number one challenge really is the feed.
Mm,
Okay. The feed cost alone is about what we have seen over the last 2 years. We are looking at between almost 80% of the total operation on the
increase.
farm all goes to cost. Yeah. So
Wow.
feed cost is the number one issue. Um, then obviously we need mentorship. We need a lot of training
Okay.
uh, to scale the farmers up so that when they are breeding their animal, they don't just take any animal and breed it to any animal. You
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
breed
Yeah. Yeah.
animal for continuity, for
Yeah.
sustaining the breed. You find some animals and they look like lion head, the lion rabbit,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yet it's white with red eyes, like a New Zealand.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing. And when
Yes.
that and
Exactly.
when that happens, it is very strange. It is very confusing. And
Mm,
then it tells you that there is no sustaining way of raising the animal. So number one, we need strong mentorship. We
mm.
need to solve the feed issue for these rabbits. Um, and when it comes to global, illnesses or diseases that are affecting rabbits, we've got
Okay.
chicken like swine flu for pigs and all those things.
Yeah.
Rabbit also could have. They have I think they call it RHD,
RH.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
RH virus.
I think they should make all those vaccines available so that we don't end up losing
I
our expensive stuff.
I heard there was a vaccine for that in Nigeria, but it was very expensive. There was a rabbit
So
farmer who
so
was
there you
talking
go.
about it once. Yeah.
So you need those kind of veterinary services at hand so that you are able to intervene when there is an issue. Okay. So
Okay.
number one challenge is the feed. We need mentorship. We need access to training and veterinary
Okay.
services to support our people. Okay.
Okay. So, sir, share your number with us so that those of us that want to reach you in
So
Ghana, we will call you, then see how we can get rabbits from your farm.
all right. So we have Clement, who is the farm manager. So I'm
Okay.
just their support. I'm their support, not a CEO. I know you
Okay.
introduced me as a CEO and my head started growing bigger. I am their support. Okay.
That's
So
still something I see.
Clement, I only support them. So Clement
Okay.
is the farm manager, and
Okay.
his number is +233
Okay.
2081
Mm-hmm.
76767.
Okay.
Then you have Elliot, the guys whose picture you saw on the intro to
Thumbnail.
this session.
Yeah.
Elliot is our operation manager, a very smart young man, and his number is +233 204 030879. Okay. Yeah, so those are the two guys that you can always reach. And also, obviously, we are available on YouTube, and we've got, on Google Map. If you just type in Ace Rabbit Farm, we will have all the contact there as well. Okay.
Okay.
Feel free to reach out. Elliot is very hungry to support anybody out there. He's always on his phone giving advice to up and coming farmers, which I believe is good because once we increase the base of young farmers coming up, then the rabbit meat becomes very popular. And if it becomes very popular, everybody wins. So that is the whole idea. Okay.
Okay. So is there anything you want to say to upcoming rabbit farmers? Is there anything like any advice you would give to people that are intending to start a rabbit farm or people that are farming rabbits in a small scale? Just give us one advice, then we can end this section.
So I think it's a good idea. Honestly, it is my dream that every single household should have, an 8 door unit at the back of their house.
Okay.
Because we need these proteins to feed our children, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, we want to reduce relying too much on bushmeat. You know the story. When
Sure.
you raise the animal yourself, you know the status of the animal, you know the health status of the animal, therefore it is more healthy. But having said all of that, the most important thing for me is that you require the right time. You need to be dedicated because it is not easy. It is not easy at all. If
Yeah.
you miss one step or two steps, your animal just falls sick, and rabbits are very sensitive. So you need to be dedicated. You need to be committed. You need to be disciplined. If you are motivated, it is not sufficient. You need to be disciplined to make it work. Okay, so that is what we have come to observe. And therefore, any young and upcoming farmer, once you have the energy and the motivation, add discipline to that, and you'll be successful.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for this section. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of this section on this live video with Mr. Alex. I know he's saying he's not the CEO, but he's the CEO. All right.
No.
He's the
All
support
right.
guy.
Thank you.
So for
Bye-bye.
those of you guys that want to reach them, you can actually reach them on the number he shared. And also, they're also on YouTube, is Rabbit Farms on YouTube. They also do teachings as well as I do on YouTube. So you can also check out their channel on YouTube, is Rabbit Farms. And they give you a lot of tips there. I also follow them. I learn a lot of things from them. There's one of your video I watched recently. You were talking about rabbit leaves, the leaves that you can actually use to get good size. So guys, you can go and check out that video. It's actually a very good one. Thank you for watching this video, guys. And once again, do have a nice day. Bye-bye and peace out.
Cheers. Bye.
All right.